here with Miami coach Anthony Noreen ahead of this weekend series at Lindenwood, and we'll take some questions.
Coach, a week off after a great start, a 4-0 start. So I think probably a mentality-wise is you'd like to play all the time, but it's always nice to kind of evaluate what you've been able to do so far. So what was kind of the whole mindset for this week off after the 4-0 start?
Get ready for Lindenwood. Obviously clean up some of the stuff that we felt we could be better at after the weekend against RPI, which we felt there was plenty there for us to clean up that we feel we could get better at. And we also felt like there's been a lot of things on the ice, off the ice, in the weight room that we want to build on, that we think are good. That we're gonna call guys out on the good stuff just as much as the bad, and mention that stuff. But there's plenty of stuff we could clean up. I think a week like last week, you use it to kind of maybe if you've got bumps and bruises or if you got schooling to catch up on. Like we tried to manage that. Having said that, we went hard, and we got right back to it this week, knowing we've got a very good Lindenwood team that we got to play this coming weekend. Getting ready for a good road trip.
And yes, it's been a week and a half or so since we played against RPI, but 3 players in the Player of the Week categories. The development of a lot of these guys thus far through the first 4 games, kind of what's your mindset or what's your thought process with that?
Yeah, I think certainly earned by all those guys. I think good things need to, as we've said before, they need to start being a little bit more the expectation around here. We need to be attracting those type of players. We need to be developing those type of players. Those type of players need to have pride in playing here and wanting to represent Miami University, and I think all 3 of those guys certainly do. We know what Ilya's been like since being here. He's been here longer than anyone else, and just how impressive of a young man he is. And obviously Deli's done a great job in the early on. Scores a huge goal opening weekend on the second night, and then obviously had some key, some opportunities where like that doesn't happen by chance. He's a guy, and it's no different than Ilya. Like he works at it. Like, it's not a guy, he gets a chance, he puts in the back of the net. Like, I guarantee if you showed up here, we practice at 9:30 in the morning. I guarantee if you showed up here between 5 o'clock and 9 o'clock any night of the week and just picked a random, you're going to see Kocha Delic here. And he's shooting pucks every day. And he's working on his body every day. And he does the right thing at the right time every single day, and he goes above and beyond. Those guys get rewarded. When it comes down to the big moment, maybe you only get 2 of them in a weekend, you find a way to put it in the back of the net. That's the difference between being average and being elite. And then obviously for Mateo, he's a guy that he's been consistent in his work, consistent in his effort, consistent in his attitude. Same thing. You get done with a weekend where it's a sweep and you have a Monday off. We get back late Sunday night, and he's the first guy here in the weight room on Monday morning. Like there's a reason some of those guys are, and it's not just those guys, there's other guys too, but that's something that we want to continue to bring in here and continue to build on. So, well earned by those guys. Now let's go out and do it again.
You mentioned Kocha's work ethic and what he's doing, shooting pucks all the time. Is that contagious? And is the fact that he wore a letter previous to getting here, as most of your guys have, is he stepping in as a leader immediately as a freshman?
Yeah, amongst a lot of other guys. I think, we talked about from the beginning that being the goal here, and not a goal that guarantees you any sort of wins or goals or anything like that. But what we wanted to do was create a competitive culture with a lot of guys that have been leaders in their own right. So maybe they did it different ways. And you feel like if they're highly competitive and if they're really good leaders, that if you put them around other guys, the competitive nature is going to want to make them take from someone else. Like you might think you worked hard and then you saw the way this guy works. Like you might think that you take care of your body, then you see the way this guy and the time he puts in, and it makes you want to, like, again, it just keeps raising the standard and raising the expectation. And now, there's more and more guys around, and there's more and more guys. Like that's what we want to build here. And those are the type of guys we are going to continue to go out and recruit and fill that locker room with. And I think the record, like completely, if we don't care what the record is right now, like if we were to completely throw that out, what we like about this group and what makes us believe in this group is that stuff, is just the way that they go about their business. Again, that doesn't guarantee you any results on the ice, but you like your chance being in those guys' foxhole.
No, you said throw out the record, but I'm going to bring it up. You have a 4-0 record, and you found ways to win in a number of different ways. And you're coming from behind, somewhat of a blowout win, keeping your foot on the gas the entire game. Last year we talked a good amount about learning to win, and this team early on is finding ways to learn how to win. How is that helping the development of this team?
I think at times it's human nature no matter what. And I think the competitive spirit of these guys will be the same no matter what the result is. We truly believe that. I know we try and be consistent, and we always will try and be consistent no matter what the result is. But I think human nature is that when things are being preached and things are being celebrated and you're trying to ingrain certain things, having success by doing those things makes it a lot easier for those things to be replicated. So that, I think a lot of the things and the reasons that we were able to get results has been, a lot of cultural things, a lot of things that maybe aren't seen during a game but are talked about in the locker room, video sessions, Troy doing video with forwards, Leo with the D, whatever it might be, Nizey meeting with guys. In when those things are the reasons you win games, it's like I said, it becomes habit. Then it just becomes what you are and what you do. And I don't even, you winning exists in the moment, losing exists in the moment. It's what you do after that either makes you a winner or a losing team. So we've just got to keep pushing here. Like I said, we have a very, very good Lindenwood team that we're going into play on the road that they didn't steal that game versus Denver last Friday. And Denver's, look at their roster. They're every bit as good as they've been. So we know we like obviously the result and a lot of things from the first 2 weekends. We need to be better. We need to push and we need to improve. And we get a chance to do that every single day. So we got to have a really good practice tomorrow. And we know we've got to be ready when the puck drops on Friday night.
Statistically, things look pretty good on both sides of your special teams, just with the chance to kind of comb through that. What have been your thoughts on your power play and your PK?
I think if you talk to Troy or Leo, both need to be better, and both can be better. I think personnel-wise, obviously on the power play, you're able to do some different things with a few of those guys. And, I know Troy's just really excited about how intentional those guys are. Just hearing him talk about it, and that's not to say you're going to go 80% of the weekend, but there's a good way about those guys. In power play, obviously, he's camaraderie, and there's guys filling in different spots, and there's guys taking charge of it, whether it's a good rep or bad rep, and learning from it on the fly. And we think there's a lot there to grow from. And then on the PK, whenever a guy's willing to get down and block a shot, it helps. Having said that, I think, again, Leo believes in the group we have back there, and I think he's doing a really good job with them, and Nizey gives him a really good hand there as well. But it's an area, you look at the games across the country, there haven't been very many blowouts in college hockey so far, and a lot of times the special team's been the difference, and a lot of times, in I think the standard in our league, you're going to see a lot more penalties. They're going to call a lot more stuff with sticks, as they should, as you see in NHL games. So a lot of nights, that's going to be the difference. So we've got to continue to work on it. We got to continue to tighten it up. We got to put guys in positions to be successful, and it's got to be an area that we get momentum from. Whether it's a kill, we got to get momentum on our bench. Power play, whether you score or not, we've got to have the momentum and then be able to build from that.
Getting ready for Lindenwood this weekend. First off, player-wise, you got a lot of the new guys that have had a chance to play. One we haven't got to see just yet, Shika Gagiev. Any updates on what's going on there?
No update. As soon as there's anything concrete, we'll certainly let you guys know. He's on the ice. He's practicing. He's in class. He's doing everything that the rest of the guys are doing, and he's a guy that we're excited that he's here. As soon as we have an update, I think we'll be the most excited of anybody once he is ready to go.
And you played Lindenwood last year. They're a different look team, though, a lot like your squad is as well. They got a new coach, Keith Fisher. I'm guessing you know him or know of him, and longtime assistant at Penn State. So what kind of has been – we talked already about them beating Denver last weekend. So what kind of has been there early and what you've seen from them? Yeah,
I think we all knew Fish, anyone that works in the hockey community, Fish was going to do a great job. Obviously he came from a really good staff at Penn State. At Princeton before that, worked with Mike Hastings in Omaha for years in the USHL. So, he's certainly paid his dues, and he certainly learned from some other really good coaches, and I'm sure molded his own style throughout that. And what we saw is a team that, they put a lot of pucks in the net. They are fast in transition. They could beat you a bunch of different ways. Really good on special teams. Thought they had strong goaltending, and you saw they put up outside of last Saturday, which you kind of throw out as a little bit of an outlier. They've been able to put a lot of pucks in the net. So they're a team that's going to challenge you in a lot of ways, and you better be ready to skate and work, because they skate and work all the way up and down the sheet.
Coach, a lot of times early in the season, it can be sort of experimenting to see what lines work, what guys work well together in lines or defensive pairings or whatnot. But you, aside from a little dinged up deputy here and there, you've really stuck mostly with the similar lines from game to game. How are you able to predict that so well, and how do you like the way that those lines have formed?
Well, I think two ways to look at that. Number one, obviously, at our level, there's so much practice that goes in before the puck drops for the first game. So we were able to see a lot of different guys playing in a lot of different combinations, through inter-squad games and drills and playing things out in lines to make us decide to go with the group that we went with. The other thing is 4 games is a pretty small sample size. So we believe, based on everything that we saw in the preseason, so to speak, that these are the groups that give us the best chance. We're going to continue to evaluate that every single game, not just at the end of the game, but within the games as well. And thus far, I think there's a little bit of a good mix on each one of those lines that we believe in. Obviously, we've had some injuries up front and a couple new guys coming in. I thought they've come in and done a really good job. So will be something we consistently evaluate over the course of days and games. But we feel those guys, the more they're with each other, obviously they're building comfort with each other within drills and just interacting with each other on the bench and in between periods and things like that. So we're excited to see how they continue to grow here.
And one final big picture question. We mentioned Lindenwood beating Denver last week, ranked number 5. Augustana pulled off a sweep. You and I talked about it, I think, last game out against RPI, the parity in college hockey and maybe the way the rules of kind of transfer portals and the Canadian leagues opening up and everything. So can you talk a little bit about what this first 3 weeks of overall college hockey's been?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're so focused on us, but you watch other college hockey too. I think there's some things that don't surprise you. I mean, watching some of the teams from our conference specifically and how good they've been and what their records look like outside the conference. But this is probably the most, for people that have worked in college hockey far longer than me, it's the most year where it's kind of everything's up in the air. Like, it's not really as clear cut as it's been with the amount of roster turnover, with the amount of players coming from places they never came from before, with the amount of guys in the transfer portal moving around. I think it's going to take a little while before it settles down here. I think it's made for entertaining, hockey. I'm sure it's been really good for maybe some of the smaller programs that maybe have caught people by surprise. I think it's been humbling for maybe some of the bigger programs where you think, oh, we're playing these guys, and there's no easy nights. That's the way it should be. I think, college hockey, there's 64 teams. That's the NCAA tournament in basketball. You know what I mean? So it is, and now that you've got the Canadian players coming in and the amount of international players and how much hockey is growing in the United States and quote-unquote what used to be non-traditional areas, Florida, California, Texas, things like that. This college hockey is probably as good as it's ever been, and I think it's only going to get better, and that's exciting.
Here with Miami forward Kocha Delic ahead of this weekend's series at Lindenwood, and we'll take some questions.
Hey, Kocha, first off, good to see you here. Had a week off, so you got a little time to rest up, but you'd only played 4 games. Tell us about kind of your initial first 4 games into college hockey and how that's all gone for you, obviously coming off the Rookie of the Week last time out.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. It's been good. It's definitely been an adjustment. We're only 4 games in since we had that bye week, so I definitely say I'm still kind of getting used to the game and the speed of it and just the differences between junior. Obviously, guys are a little bit older in college, a little bit more mature. So guys play really hard. It's really north and south. In junior, it was maybe a little more east-west hockey. So getting used to playing that north-south game and just kind of competing every single night. Obviously, we only play about 36, 38 games in college versus 68 that I played in junior. So every single game is kind of like a playoff game. So making sure we bring that intensity every single night and try to get wins.
And that was actually what I was going to kind of follow up with, the fact that there are so much fewer games than what you're used to through the Canadian Junior League.
Right.
So what's that adjustment like? How do you kind of stay motivated to be ready for each and every game?
Yeah, I think that makes it kind of easier to stay motivated for each game because you only get the chance to play 38 and then hopefully get into playoffs and hopefully make the tournament and then hopefully move on from there, right? And versus in junior, kind of sometimes you get to those dog days and it's like, oh my God, we got 4 games this week. It can get tough, but here where you're just playing Friday, Saturday, and every game means so much for your standings, whether it's national standings or your league standings, it's pretty easy to get up and give it your best every night.
Your line with Ilya and Mateo has developed. I mean, you guys are clicking obviously really well together. how have you been able to sort of learn their games and be so effective together so quickly?
Yeah, I think those two guys are first and foremost really great players. I think that makes it a bit easy for me to play with them. Obviously, playing with two elite guys like that kind of makes my job easy. But I think also off the ice, we've been pretty good friends as well, which definitely helps. I think when you get on the ice and you build close relationships, like Ilya is my roommate on the road, so me and him are pretty close. And then Mateo, we've been pretty good buddies since we both first got here. So I think that makes it pretty easy when you kind of build those relationships off the ice. It kind of helps on the ice where we're comfortable talking to each other. We're comfortable helping each other out. If someone makes a mistake, we'll pick each other up. So I think that's been a big part of it for sure.
How'd you guys spend the off week? What'd you do to sort of stay locked in with the off week last weekend?
Yeah, on Saturday we had like a bit of a mini game battle day, which I think was pretty good just to kind of keep us in the game and intensity kind of scenarios. Obviously, you have a bye week pretty early on. It can kind of get away from kind of your identity and your core values. So we wanted to make sure we stayed on top of that. We had a really good week lifting with Gord, which was nice just to kind of be able to push hard in the gym and kind of get that strength training in was huge for us. So yeah, we definitely had, it was nice to get the week off, but we definitely had a pretty intense week getting ready for this weekend.
On your line, you're playing with an older college guy, sort of, and then obviously a very young guy from the USHL, and you're a CHL guy.
Yeah.
Just looking at this roster and the guys coming from the different areas, do you notice any sort of difference in play style between your Canadian junior guys, your American junior guys, and guys that have played more college hockey?
Yeah, it's interesting that you asked that. Honestly, not really. I think coming in, I thought maybe it'd be a bit of a learning curve. Obviously, we got some guys coming in from the CHL this year with the new rule. Most guys usually from the USHL that play college, and then older guys like Mateo, who's a junior this year, obviously would have had the experience of playing college hockey. But yeah, honestly, I think just the way we play and the style of play that the coaches kind of instill in us and the way they want us to play, it kind of makes it really easy for everyone to be on the same page. We want to play fast. We want to be a team that competes hard, whether it's on the forecheck, whether it's on the back check, and throughout our whole O-zone and D-zone play, we want to be a team that's always competing, always bringing it to the other team. And so I think that makes it kind of easy for everyone to play a similar style of game when it comes down to it.
On a bigger picture for you were the first CHL player or Canadian junior player to come to sign to play U.S. college hockey for Miami. What was that decision like kind of going through that? Was that something in the back of your mind that you knew might be a possibility?
Yeah, honestly, I had no idea until maybe a week before kind of the rule change. I never really thought about it as a possibility. I think I mentioned earlier in an interview when, you're 16 years old, 15 years old, and you sign your OHL deal, you kind of know at that point that you're not going to be able to play college hockey. So that's what my initial thinking was throughout my whole junior career. And then come my last year, lucky enough for me, they ended up changing the rule in my overage year of junior hockey in the CHL. So kind of when they ended up changing that rule, got the opportunity to talk with Miami, and I think kind of just the legacy of what Miami is and the opportunity to bring this program back to the legacy that it has and the legacy that it once was. That was kind of, I think, what brought me here, just having the opportunity to be able to bring those wins back, bring those national championship battles back to Miami is a huge honor, and I think that we can do it here with all the facilities that we have, the support that we get from the community, the coaching staff, the school especially has been unbelievable. So I think just that's kind of our goal right now is to bring Miami back to to the place that it once was. Yeah.
Coming up, you've got Lindenwood, and
Yep.
They're an independent, but they're coming off of a split with Denver, and anybody that can go toe to toe with Denver has to have some talent. So
Yeah.
what do you know about them? What do you expect to see from them?
Yeah, they're obviously a really good team. Like you just said, you don't split with Denver if you're not a pretty good team, right? So I think we're ready to compete. We looked at a little bit of stuff, but we want to always focus on our game first. We don't want to play to the other team's style. We want to play to our style and then adjust from there. So we've seen some stuff that they do, maybe some tendencies, and we're going to look to implement our game and take advantage of some stuff that we can. But yeah, like you said, they're a really good team. It's going to be a tough weekend at their rink to get wins, but we're going to go in there and we're going to try our best to get the job done.